this grand finale will help cement whatever we have learned today. Yesterday, and then you can cement everything. Okay, as we wait for more people to join up, I think we want to kick off. Mr. Ben, please, if you are there, I want to just say you do the introduction and open up the meeting for us to begin. Okay. So Ben, can you hear me? So while we are waiting for Ben to just come up, I don't know what's happening to his phone right now. Again, I want to appreciate everyone that have been with us. Gladys, thank you for showing up again this night. Dr. Ejiro again, thank you for showing up. Laurie, also thank you for showing up. Okay, so today we just basically want to do a recap on most of the things we have learned, and then we can also do some form of introduction and all those stuff. Okay, Mr. Ben, quickly just do the introduction and let's have summary on what we've done so far.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Okay, good evening, everybody. This is another beautiful time again to learn more. I believe yesterday was great, but today is going to be superb. Okay, so I want to do a quick rundown of what we learned yesterday. Okay, so yesterday it was how to master our emotions. Okay, and we are meant to understand that emotion is how we feel part time, and it could be regulated and adjusted. So 2 factors of emotions was stated to us. One is reaction and the other one is response. And reaction is not giving the right decisions, while response is giving the right decisions. Okay. Then we are taught on modifying your experience. Modifying your experience. And there are some steps that was given to us, which is practical contacts with an event, observation of an event, impression of an event, shapes of perception, experience change with exposure. Okay, so quite a lot was listed. And also, we are taught that experience comes from our past, present, and future, and it was deeply explained. Okay, it was deeply explained that past exposure, which has to do with reframing the experience. Then present exposure, which has to do with choosing your circle of contacts and influence. Then the future exposure, which has to do with training, traveling, taking courses, attending meetings or seminars, in order to upgrade yourself. Okay. Thereafter, we are taught about some things that we need to filter off that are not necessary, which is filter off the unnecessary things of life. Okay, you don't allow them to get into you. Okay, which is one of the aspects of modifying your emotions. Thereafter, we look at people management also, that people act based on their experience and they act from the inside out. Okay, it's not the outside in, but inside out. So quite a lot was actually dealt with yesterday regard to mastering our emotion, and it was an insightful teaching. Okay, so today again is another time and it's going to be the grand finale. Okay, so I want us to actually prepare our hearts, prepare our minds Okay, let's be receptive. And also at the course of the teaching, if there is any questions that feel like answering, you can either put it in the chat box or you can use an audio notes, okay, during the time of the questions. Okay, so before our doctor take over, I prepared a poem that I really want to quickly read out to us to actually motivate us and inspire us. Okay, shortly, the title of the poem is Awake. Awake. So, awake, thou that sleepest, no food for the lazy, little that become crazy, and life seems so frustrating. Awake, thou that sleepest, taste the taste of life, learn the lessons it teaches, and life will seem so pleasing. Awake, thou that sleepest, put on the suit of preparation. Destiny is not by luck, lest you lock up your chances. Awake, thou that sleepest, long time rest in the grave, no disturb by the brave, afterward you cease to live. Awake, thou that sleepest, take the motion for progress, break the notion for distress until you are blessed and dressed for success. Awake, thou that sleepest, little sleep, little rest, folding your arm, taking a nap, hosting dead poor life, poverty your permanent house guest. Awake, thou that sleepest, lazy life is an empty life, always hungry in the midst of plenty, early to rise, get the job done. Thank you very much, and I hope this short poem made you good. So I want to hand over to our doctor as we continue the class. So with joy in your hearts, let's receive our teacher for tonight, Dr. Tony. Thank you, sir. Okay, doctor, sir. Okay, doctor, you're muted, sir. Need to unmute. You are muted. Okay, yes. Yeah, we can hear you now, sir.
Thank you so much for that spoken word. Thank you, and I think we will hear more of that as we continue to have this class thereafter. Thank you so much once again. I want to also use the opportunity to thank everybody that have stayed through to today. I know that staying online for 3 days straight is not easy, but you have been online for the past 3 days. Thank you so much. I want to especially appreciate Dr. Oyilawa for being here for the past 3 days. Thank you, Dr. Ejiro, and every other person that have made it here tonight. So today is the grand finale. I'll make an attempt to just recap everything we have said from the beginning of this class. Okay, so today, quickly, so that we can just round off on time. I don't intend to take much time and see how much we can just cover quickly. We are just building on what we have done so far. Yesterday, we started talking about how you can master your emotions. But today, we'll be talking about your emotional state. Okay, so there's a little difference between emotions and emotional state. Okay, state simply just defined the way you are feeling at a particular time. That is what we refer to as the state. Emotions can just be there. We just have emotions here and there. But when we talk about emotional state, we are referring to what you are feeling at a particular time. What are you feeling at a particular time, at a given time? So We look about the subject of fear, anxiety, panic, happy, and excited. So the question here is that what are you feeling at a particular time? That is your state. The state you are at that time is the way you are feeling at that time. I would say that it could be dynamic. So you see some people could have felt happy in the morning, happy in the evening, and then the next morning they are not happy again. So it is dynamic. So the idea of today's topic is for us to maintain or control our emotional state to be as steady as possible, such that all throughout the week you are happy, such that all throughout the month you are happy, such that all throughout the year you are happy, all throughout your lifetime you are happy. So that's the goal, is to maintain control, stable emotional state as much as possible. This does not mean that we may not have occurrences that may disturb us, but our ability to be able to maintain that stable emotions, even though things are not working according to plan. So that's what we're trying to look at. So emotional state will affect your performance, and change of state are drawn from meaning of our experience, like we said earlier on yesterday. The change of states is based on the meaning we are drawing from our experience. So if you can maintain a stable interpretation of your experiences, you may just be able to maintain a stable emotions throughout the month, throughout the year, as the case may be. So we said before, emotions can come in form of past memories, which are also part of our experiences. So it could be good memories, okay? Then we feel happy. It could be bad memories, then we feel sad. So all of us, we have memories of the past, which is also part of our experience, like we said in our previous discussion. And that past memories, we have good memories and we have bad memories. So the idea of this discussion is to make us understand that these past memories can drive our state. The past memory can drive our state per time. So if you relive the good memories, you'll be feel happy. But if you relive the bad memories, you are going to feel sad at a particular time. So it becomes very important for us to understand that each of us per time, we think about the past, we think about our memory, we think about the things that have happened to us in the past, which has formed the basis of our experience. So number two, the other thing we have is the future. The future is the other thing that we also have. So when we think about the future, what comes to our mind? So if we look about the future and the outcome of the future is such that is a good outcome, we'll think, we'll become excited. So as we are right now, if we are thinking about tomorrow and the thoughts you have about tomorrow is such of a great outcome, you know, it's such a great goal that you want to achieve, you can become excited. But sometimes once you think about tomorrow and what comes to your mind, it's a negative outcome, it can become a source of anxiety. So the idea here is that we need to concentrate on the good memories because they make us feel happy. Sometimes the bad memories, we need to modify them. We need to concentrate on the good outcome in the future. Let's look at our goals in the future that of benefit to us, and then we'll become excited about it. So most times, once you have a goal that you are pursuing, you'll become excited. So now quickly, we'll just talk about how to control your emotional state. Yesterday, we'll talk about how to master your emotional state. So What you focus on internally is one factor that determines your state by time. What you are focusing on at that time. So it becomes very interesting for you to focus on the good memories, or you focus on the good future. So once you can do that, it's going to create an exciting emotional state for you. This doesn't mean that you may not have negatives around. There may be negatives around. Things are not working the way they should work. You have not achieved everything you want to achieve. But once you focus on the good memories and you focus on the good outcome, it will change your emotional state. Remember yesterday we said emotional state is a factor of the experience and the meaning you attach to your experience. So here we're trying to say that focus on the good memories and focus on the good in the nearest future. In fact, it is said that if you learn how to appreciate the things you have, you'll be grateful for the future. If you learn how to appreciate God for the extent of where you have, you will appreciate God for the future. For instance, we know that in the hospital, some people buy oxygen to be able to survive. But we know that we breathe oxygen freely without buying it, and we're still alive. So even if things are not working as expected, if you focus on the fact that you still have life, that may just be enough for you to have stable or positive emotional states at that time that you have. So what do I mean is for us to create images. So one inside of our mind. So we should focus on positive images in our mind. Once you can do that, things will change, your emotional state will change. In fact, from my own experience, what has helped me in many situations is to create images based on biblical principles. So I have learned over the years to create images focused on biblical principles. For instance, I know that God loves me. So even things are going wrong the way I never expected, because I know that God loves me, it keeps me in a stable situation. Two, I know that God is with me based on biblical principles. He never leaves me alone. If we that are fathers cannot leave our children, how much more God? He doesn't leave me alone. Even when I make mistake, He doesn't leave me alone. I remember what He said, that if you do wrong and you come back to Him, He will forgive your wrongs and He will not remember them again. So you can see that God have something for us. So creating biblical images in my mind at all times, even in midst of negative situation, help to stabilize my emotions. So focus on good images, even when things are not going on as expected. So that's one of the ways you can take control of the emotional state. By emotional state, I mean how you feel at a particular time, because there will always be issues. There's a problem not finished, especially in Nigeria. There's always be issues here and there. Even if you don't have any issues, people will bring issues to you, but your ability to focus on positive and good images, either of the past or of the future, will keep you to be emotionally stable. And sometimes you can take it further by creating biblical images. And one of them is to realize that God never leaves you alone, no matter the situation you find yourself. Number two, another thing that we can take hold of to control our emotional state is what we say and how we communicate. That is our language. Okay, so the language we use is important. If you use a language that portrays negativity, over time, you begin to behave in that direction. We said yesterday, there's a concept of inside out or outside inside. So what you say on the outside is a reflection of the inside, And what you say will in turn influence the inside further. So it's like a cycle. So what you say become important. So in order for you to maintain relatively stable emotional states, you must communicate the good you have experienced in the past, and you must communicate the good you are expecting in the future. So you learn to communicate, talk about the good you're expecting, talk about the property you want to buy tomorrow, talk about the visions you have. You may even write it down and keep talking about them. You may not have a house right now, but you talk about the house you have. You may not have that visions you have in your mind you want to achieve. You may not have it right now, but you keep reliving it. You keep living in that state. You keep saying it to yourself. So once you can change your language, it will also change your emotional states. Sometimes the change is not just in words. You remember we said language can be verbal, or communication can be verbal or non-verbal. So it's not just what you say that should mirror your future. The way you behave, the way you dress, the way you walk, the way you do things with people. Okay, your non-verbal communication should also portray the good memory of the past and portray the beautiful memory of that future you are looking up to. So at this time, our belief system becomes very important. What is belief system? Is our acceptance of an idea. If you accept an ideology, it is said to be your belief system. So the ideology that drives your personality is also important, because it's going to determine how much you can control your emotional states. So let's challenge our belief system. Belief systems that are causing us problems, challenge them. Why belief systems that are helping you to achieve your goal? Keep reliving those belief systems. If you can, we can't just accept everything that comes to us. We must begin to challenge our belief system. It is not everything our parents told us that are correct. It is not everything we hear on social media that are correct. It is not everything we hear around that are correct. So challenge the ideology you have come to accept over these years, because some of them are going to drive your emotional state. So if you can have sound belief system, they will also determine the state of your emotion. For instance, if you believe that because you could not achieve something now, then everything is over, it's going to affect your emotional state. But if you believe that success is a journey, sometimes you have glories, sometimes you may not achieve it the way you want it. If that is your belief system, the moment you are not seeing the glory you expected now, you will know that whatever you are having now is just a season. After some time, this season is going to pass and the next season will come. So our belief system, the ideology that drives our mind, is so important. You know, this is also the reason why they say you cannot destroy terrorism with guns and all the rest and the rockets and all that, because terrorism is an ideology. You kill one today, another one will rise up. You kill one today, another one will rise up. So it is driven by an idea. So the question is, what drives you? What ideas that drives your mind? You know, I will encourage you sometimes. For me, I have come to a place where I allow the Bible to drive my life as an idea, and that's really helped me. So that's something some of us may look into, because if you have a lot of belief system based on the things of God, it can drive your life in a direction where your emotion will be relatively stable over the month, over the year, and as long as you're on earth. Let's know that our communication could be sound, positive, and optimistic. I won't waste time on that. Let's quickly talk about the other one. The other one is use the word physiology, okay? It has to do with a lot of the chemical reaction within us. A good example is to talk about when we are going for interview, for instance. When you go for interview, for instance, sometimes because of the pressure, you may become anxious. Okay, and because of your anxiety, sometimes when you take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, you can control that anxiety at that time. So sometimes our physiological states, our internal states also contribute so much to our emotional state. If at that time you're so a lot of chemical reaction going on in your system, okay, it can make you to become anxious, become agitated, become restless. So sometimes you learn to breathe, you learn to relax, sometimes you learn to take some walk. Maybe you are in one place, and because you're in that place, you're becoming so anxious. Just taking a walk, it can relax you. Just taking an exercise, it can relax you. Just taking a good facial expression can also relax you. Just taking a confident position, even though you appear to be not happy inside, but you are taking a happy mood on the outside, over time it will influence you. So this is one of the reasons why people go for a comedy show, they stay with friends, they go out to do one or two things. Before you know, over time, the environment will influence them and it will change their emotional state. So that's another way to take control of your emotional state. As I begin to round up, I just want to talk about the concept of your present state and your desired state. Everybody have a present state that we are. Sometimes it may not be emotional, sometimes it could be financial, sometimes it could be spiritual, sometimes it could be work related. Okay, so we have discussed emotional states previously, but now I just want to talk about other concept of states. The word state is actually a big word, okay, that cover a lot of things. Your present state, or who you are in terms of finances, where you are in terms of your vision, where you are in terms of the things you've always want to accomplish. For instance, some of us, you want to travel out of
Okay, it seems doctor has some technical issue right now. Okay, please let's just sit back and wait until he's able to resolve it.
Okay, so sorry for that network inch. Sorry for that. Let me quickly just reconnect the slide. Okay, so I was talking about the concept of, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, so I was talking about the concept of your present state and your desired state. The only difference that separates you from your desired state and your present state is the resources that you need. For instance, we are here now, and in the next 5 years, you want to be making up to 10 million naira. So you are in the present state, or you are making less than 10 million. Then in your desired state, you want to make up to 10 million. Okay, so that's a desired state. So the thing that separates you between your present state and your desired state is just the resources that you need. Okay, so the resources you need might be human resources. The resources you need might be to improve yourself. The resources you need might be that you need to take that exam. The resources that you need may need to build one relationship. So you can actually move yourself from one state to another if you have the appropriate resources. So I just wanted to introduce that to us. But when you talk about the concept of emotional state, maybe you are in a present emotional state where you're not happy, where you are depressed, you're worried, you are anxious, and you want to move to a desired state where you are happy, you are anxious and everything. The gap between the present state and the desired state is just the resources that you need. So the resources may just be going for training, building relationship, hearing what you are hearing now, building more stable emotions. These are the resources, and then you will achieve it. So in summary, this is what I've just discussed. What we determine our state. What do you focus on your inside? Number two, what is your language? What do you say? If you keep saying that you are poor, you are poor, you are poor, over a long time, your emotions are going to take a poverty attitude. So that's why you must tell yourself you are not poor. And I'm sure you're not lying, because poverty is not money. Poverty is a way you put your mindset. Okay, so as a round up, I just want to introduce the DTS community. This is an idea where we want us to continue to interact, and this is open up to anybody. I'm sure that we took a very short time to be able to go through this principle. There are a lot of principles that I did not talk about. There's a concept of anchor, there's a concept of the filters, there's a concept of mental programming, there's a concept of representational system. There are a lot of concepts that I could not talk about because this discussion is very short, and I've tried to just limit a lot of things to how we can maintain stable emotional state as much as possible. This teaching and all that, also a concept that are relative to leaders. I didn't emphasize so much on leadership. It's also very important to businessmen and those that want to work in a lot of successes. So, but I'll try to measure on how we can maintain relatively stable emotions over a long time. So I want you to join me for this community. I'm making it free that anybody that wants to have a cause to interact with me, please feel free to do that interaction. Ask questions for clarity. In case we are going through any one situation or another, you need to talk to somebody, be free to have an interaction with me. If I don't have all the answer, I will be able to link you to someone that will help you. I hope that we have been able to do some work for these 3 days. Again, I want to appreciate everyone that have stayed with me today. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you. So, Ben, over to you now. Let me hear from you quickly, then we shall come back to hear 1 or 2 things from our attendees. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, sir. We are so much grateful for the powerful teaching. Okay, as we prepare our questions, I want to listen to a short spoken word again, which is titled Information Age. Okay, Information Age is a short one. Okay, in this information age, when you feel so at ease, you will soon become of age and locked up in poverty cage. In this information age, you are not to be a knave, neither you ought to be insane, lest you will end up a lame. In this information age, you just have to be brave and never shift a blame so you won't end up in a cage. In this information age, brace up and don't be late. Be steadfast among them on the race, for there is a qualifying grace. In this information age, invest on your self-upgrade. Upon heroes list, your name will be engraved. Enjoying the best of success in praise. In this information age, learn to win the money game. Venture on a skillful leverage and escape the business prey. In this information age, learn to stick to the wise old age. Grow over the mind of an average and create a globe out of a village. For we are in the information age. Thank you very much.
Oh,
So
thank
thank
you
you
so much
for this paper.
for that.
Okay, so we'll be diving into questions. Okay, so if you have a question, you can either put it in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask your questions, please. It can be from the day one teaching, day two teaching. Maybe something you're not so clear about from the day one, day two. Okay, and today also day three. You can drop it in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask your questions. Okay.
Maybe if they don't have a question, they can make comments, they can contribute.
Okay, yeah.
Then they can also say what they've learned from the beginning of the class up to now. Maybe again, we should hear from Rejoice Debekeme. Please, if you are there, you can unmute your mic and talk to us. Rejoice Debekeme, are you there? Rejoice, are you there? Okay, thank you. Maybe she's not there yet. Let's hear from Gladys. Gladys, can you hear me? Gladys, can you hear me? Okay, maybe she's not also online. Can we hear from Bless? Bless, if you are there, let's hear from you. What have you learned from day one till now? Bless?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, doctor. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, madam.
I would say I appreciate this concept, and it's a kind of detoxifying and rejuvenating for my mind. It has helped me. I've been someone who's been had gone through too much emotional challenges, work pressure, psychological challenges. In fact, at some point, I was shouting for help. But I thank God, like you had said earlier in our class this evening, setting your mind or just putting your, building your concept or your mind towards God's word. And it has helped me a lot. And thank God for this platform. Is exposing me, helping me, not just me, as regards my job. And I have a question though. I've learned so much. And doctor, please, I don't want it to just end here today. If there's a way we can continue, if I know you are a very busy person, and I think every one of us here, they are busy persons. I'm a salesperson, and I'm always on the road. I'm always busy, actually. Now, my question is, how does this emotional what did we call it again? Mastering my emotions. How can it help me sell better? You say you were going to talk about it. When I read the leaflet or this thing you sent, I saw it was supposed to help leadership. It was meant to help you to be a good salesperson too. In my company, I'm the head of marketing for my company. So I really want to know how it can make me sell better.
Okay.
I don't know if my question is clear.
Yeah, very clear. Very clear. Thank you so much for the comments, and I'm glad that the teaching for this period have been able to help you. In fact, that's the purpose and the passion, to be able to help people to have relatively stable emotions as you handle your day-to-day pressures and activity. Now, I have so much to really say, but as much as possible, I have tried to keep to within an hour so that the meeting will not be boring. So that's why we didn't really go far to apply this principle to everything. So if you observe, I depth so much on how you can have stable emotions. But some of these things will also help you as a sales person, especially when you begin to understand people better. So the way to help you, some of the concepts, there's a way we'll look at it, it will help you. So maybe we can have one-on-one interaction to make it to help you. Because as a salesperson, you negotiate, you talk to people. When you are talking to people, the people are going to respond to what you say.
Mm.
We said already that people respond to what they hear and what they see. So you can see Coca-Cola being able to take advantage of this principle, that anywhere you see jollof rice, you see a bottle of Coke. So that's a way of applying this principle to market. So anybody that want to buy fried rice or jollof rice, you are thinking of a bottle of Coke to go with it, because they kept a picture as an advert where you have bottle of Coke and rice. So we kept seeing it, and it make an impression in our mind. So when you are marketing, you are trying to make an impression. In other words, you are trying to create an experience with your product on the people. You are trying to tell the people that you have an experience with this product. So an experience is not formed overnight. Experience are formed over time. So you may need to have a way of keep selling your product and keep telling the people. That's one. Two, there's a concept of filter, which I didn't go into because of time. So like I said, there's a lot of things. When you talk to people, people do not allow everything to enter them. In fact, if you remember that game in the past where you say a word to somebody, you form a queue of 8 people. Say you say a word to the first person. By the time the 9th person is coming to tell you the word, that word has been distorted. Remember that game? If you remember.
Yeah.
So because everything we hear, we will distort it. So when you say words to people, they distort what you hear. Because they have filters in their mind that will filter everything you are hearing. Not everything will enter their mind.
Yes.
For instance, some individuals, the moment you raise your voice trying to talk to them, no matter what you say again will not enter their brain. As long as you started that discussion by raising your voice, it will not enter again. There are some people like that. But some people, even though you raise your voice, it doesn't matter to them, they will continue. So some others, you need to appreciate them first before you continue. So these are all features which are very beneficial to those that are in business and in marketing, which I did not really go into because of the limited time that we have. So once you are dealing with your client, as you are talking, you are trying to understand what's the feature of this person, what's the concept of this person, how is this person reasoning, what's the thought process? Because you are trying to modify the thought process to accept your product. So you must give information to the person that will modify the thought process to accept what you are trying to pass through. You are trying to pass something to them. Now you can imagine if you go to my village right now and you are presenting a product, to them that they don't understand, they will not accept it.
Yes.
So it's a whole world of another concept where you are trying to apply these principles I've just shared with you to marketing. It's a whole world of discussion, really, because people respond to what they hear and what they see, or the image they create in their mind. In fact, you have understood from this little class we have that our emotional state is dependent on what to focus on. So allow the people to focus on something that is interesting in your product, so they'll keep looking for it.
Okay.
So it's
Thank
a whole
you.
lot of packaged when you channel the discussion in the direction of business, okay, which probably I'm also planning to do in the nearest future. I knew that some of the things that are advertised, business were part of it, but we don't have all the time to discuss all that. But these principles, as I've said, it can be applied to business. So concept of filters is very important. People will not choose your product because you are filtering them off. They filter them off. For instance, you bring a product to the market. Let's say you are bringing another milk to the market. There are already a lot of milk in the market. So why should they accept this your milk? They already used to, remember initially, we were used to buying sugar, the Lewis sugar, is it not? That's
Yes.
what we're used to buying the Lewis sugar over a long time until Dangote brought his own sugar. So what is he going to do to make people accept it? People already create a belief system that Lewis sugar is the best. But Dangote realized that people were suffering from issues of Lewis sugar. Once you open it, the carton will be wet, all those ants will be coming in. So when he came, he decided to produce his own properly sealed, and the carton is stronger. So with that, it could break into the filters. The filters that people develop was that over the years, we have been using Lewis sugar. But because of that change in product, he broke through the filter, the things they were using to filter off his product. The same thing he used when he came to cement. If you remember, over many years ago, it was the elephant cement that was much more available.
That's true.
So, but when he came into the market, he knew that people were already used to elephant. In other words, people now have experience with elephant cement. They've used it for building, and they've had a lot of experience with it. So you're not just going to come, they won't throw it away. It's their experience. They will tend to live with it. But when he came, in order to break through that experience and create a new experience for them, he started selling at the cheaper rate. So that's what he did to break through them. So when they saw the price was a bit lower, people started accepting it. Over time, people now had experience with Dangote Smith, and they realized that it's still the same thing with Elephant Smith anyway, yet it's cheaper. So why not go for it? They started going for it. So in business, you keep breaking people filters. In communication, in negotiation, as you are talking to the person, you are trying to understand the filters the person is having in his mind. What are those things that the person has? Filters are based on values. Filters are based on belief system. So as you are talking to the person is talking, you're understanding the value of the person, and you'll be able to understand exactly, what you should do. That's why some people that are dubious can apply this principle negatively, and they can, what's the word now? They can become scammers. In fact, most of the scammers, these are the way they apply some of these some of these principles. So I understand what you have just said. I didn't delve so much. I didn't want to mobile business and personal development together. So they are difficult to carry along. But I decided to just, concentrate on area. But as time goes on, I'm sure we're going to deal with business. The same thing in leadership. In leadership, you deal with people. And when you deal with people, the greatest problem you have is their belief system, their values, and the filters they have upstairs. You may need to break them for them to follow you. Remember, as a leader, you are trying to make people to follow the goal of the organization or follow the target you are having. You are trying to make people to follow. So for you to make people to follow, you must break they are fitter, because as you are trying to communicate the goal with them, they will filter off a lot of things, or they will distort it. They will not get what you say exactly to them. They will distort it. That's when you give an instruction to your secretary, he will not do exactly the same thing sometimes. They will do something different. So you must find a way to break all those filters. And these are all concepts that it will not be enough. If you remember, initially I have made this training to be 5 days, but I have to cut it down to 3 days because of, I didn't want to drag it too long so that it will not be boring, so that it will be interesting.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sure I had responded to some of these things.
Yes, yes, doctor. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So, Mr. Ben, do you still have any question on the platform?
Okay.
Okay, someone asked that, does mastery your emotion mean you become emotionless? Okay, so yesterday we talked about emotions is responding or reacting, okay? Reacting just means that you are not giving the appropriate response per time. Response means that you are giving the appropriate response per time. So the response that is appropriate per time may be that you should cry. That may just be the appropriate response. The appropriate response sometimes may mean that you will be excited and shout to people. Okay, for instance, someone that's close to you is bereaved. The appropriate response at that time is to be in a mourning state with that person. So mastery emotion does not mean you become emotionless. It just means that you know the right emotion to display for the right situation. There are times you need to shout on people. There are times you may need to even fight. Yes, because it said that you take gun to make peace at gunpoint, something like that. So there are times you may need to fight for you to make peace. So mastery emotion does not mean you become emotionless. By that I mean you no more have some negative emotions. No, that's not what we're trying to say. What we're trying to say is that you master your emotions, you know when to respond, you know when to react, depending on the different situation you have at hand. If you're a leader, for instance, there are times you have to be angry with your workers. But of course, when you are angry, it doesn't affect, when you are angry with your workers, you don't make it personal, okay? You don't leave the working environment, you take it to the house and you begin to get angry even when you have left them. No, you have moved it from dealing with the issues into something personal. It's not changing your emotional state. But remember, what you are interested in is to deal with the issue. So somebody can be angry, you can shout. So you're just giving the right response at time. That is the concept of mastery your emotions. Sometimes it means to be quiet. Sometimes you need to raise your voice. Sometimes you need to sack. Sometimes you need to discipline. Sometimes you need to be calm. So it's to know the appropriate response at time. That's what we mean by that. Thank you. Any more questions, comment, contribution before we begin to round up? Gladys, are you there? It would be nice to hear from you. Gladys. Gladys. Okay, I can't hear. So, Mr. Sakwe, it also be nice to hear from you. Let's appreciate him. He's one of the sponsors of this meeting. He actually sponsors some people. Thank you so much for helping this meeting to fly and helping others to be on board. So, Mr. Sakwe, if you are there.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to hear from you, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Mastering your emotion is not something that is easy. It's not easy at all. I remember what I passed through last year. Although you mentioned a solution to it, one-on-one conversation. I remember after having lots and lots of conversation with you, things actually changed.
Yes.
It really, really, really changed. You remember then when I have chest movements, I will call you, doctor, is my heart going to stop?
Yeah.
It was really difficult then. Controlling your emotion, in my personal opinion, is not something that is easy. But if you can talk to someone and have the right conversation, yes, it's a positive start to controlling your emotions.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I really agree with you. It's a journey, really. It's really not easy. It's a journey because some of those things you are trying to control have been there for years, some over 20 years, over 30 years. So they become a stronghold, like what the Bible will say. Some of these things have become a hold on our mind, something gripping us. So to re-educate and change some of these things, it takes a whole lot of time. In fact, that's the problem we have, that's the problem God have with humanity. That's why you see people that are God have saved, they still have problems with a lot of issues because it's not easy to start re-educating your mind to change a lot of things you are used to over the years. But like you said, it's a place to start from. It's a journey. As you take the first step, you keep improving. And I'm sure that right from the first day we had the first section together and you took the first step, you are far, far better off. I remember that you shared that testimony with me. All right. So I think can I hear from um maybe I just hear from Laurie. Laurie, are you there? Let me hear from you. Then hear
Yes, sir.
from Dr. Uyilawa to round up tonight. Oh, so are you there, Laurie?
Yes, I'm here.
Please, can we just hear from you? She's a clinical psychologist, so I'm sure she had a lot of experience in this area dealing with people. Please, ma'am, can we hear from you?
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, sir, for your presentation. You've done wonderfully. I would like to contribute in the area of the lady that asked the question about marketing. Like, she's a sales rep. I think she's head of sales rep or so. Have to remember. I mean, you've practically said it all, but I'm just trying to make it very simple for her. You know, like, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. For example, when you're actually going to deal with customers, you need to have certain things at the back of your mind. That when you deal with your own emotions as well before you go, like you have it at the back of your mind that today might not be a win-win day. However, you look forward to a positive result. You need to remember that people have different personalities. You know, this person's personality is this person like the type that is kind of like, I'm not going to say introvert. If it's an extrovert, it's possible you might, chat your way through and get positive from that individual. But if the person is an introvert, you might be talking and talking and that person is not talking. So it's just to continuously pave your way through to the person's heart. Then another thing that you need to remember is the culture. Certain cultures want to be worshipped. Are they that type, or is that customer you're seeing on that day or that week? Is that customer that type that like to be, that would love to be worshipped? You need to prostrate or wherever before things done, like to get a positive result of that person. Another thing also remember as well is sometimes the weather can play a great role on how people would react. So if the weather is very cold, it's possible that you might not be able to assimilate or want to be forthcoming with whatever that you present in that moment. But don't give up. Just continuously keep trying. Keep get there. We're all different people. We need to remember this. We're different. Handling personalities that come our way goes a very long way. So we need to keep, on it. Everybody have emotions. Even me as or as a I go through my own, like you see different patients or clients and God, how do I deal with this client? Because you come this way, he or she is slippery, not coming at the other way. So it's first and foremost, like the doctor had said earlier on, is taking a deep breath. taking in deep breath and not allowing your facial expressions to show how upset you might be mad at that particular person at that period. You know, taking in deep breath, you're taking deep breath while you're talking to somebody, and the person might not even be aware that you're actually doing it. You know, that you're taking in deep breath, or if possible, maybe like if you kind of like you work on your anxiety before you go, like you know, sometimes that yeah, you're talking to a client, you're talking to a customer that you actually want to get something from. You're seeing that client at that moment, you're seeing somebody else, you're seeing your progress, you're seeing seeing the positive result that you're getting out of it. Don't be fidgety, just stay focused and you get whatever you want. Sometimes you get it 100%, sometimes you get it 70%. You know. Yeah, that's what I can say for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you for adding that contribution. And you've said it all, because you need to understand different personality you deal with at time. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think we've short our time. Let me hear from Dr. Oyilawa, a special guest of honor. Just make some statement for us, and can call it a night. Dr. Oyilawa, please, are you there, sir?
Yeah, Dr. Kweke, thank you so much. It has been 3 wonderful days of quite intense knowledge I've gotten from you. And I hope we'll be able to have more of this series some other time. Thank you for your effort. Thank you, everybody, for being around. And hope we can apply this in our daily life. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So once again, I want to also appreciate everybody. And we are planning to have like 2 days in December. We should watch out for that meeting. It promised to be quite interesting. And I can tell you that probably we're going to look at different angles and address some of these issues. Thank you so much. Mr. Ben, please, over to you now to see how we can round up the meeting.
All right, thank you very much, sir. We are so much grateful. Okay, on behalf of everyone who has attended this BYB Masters class, we want to really appreciate you for your time, your efforts, and for the teachings. Okay, our mind has been inspired. We've learned a lot. Okay, this meeting is actually worth it. Okay, I've attended some seminars, and this one $100 worth it. So really want to appreciate you. Want to thank you. And to everyone, I want to quickly tell us that everything we've learned today is actually practicable. So let's do our best to put them into practice. Okay, from Dale Carnegie Clone of Learning, he said that 20% of what we read, okay, we remember 20% of what we read over time. Then we remember 30% of what we hear over time. We remember 50% of what we watch over time, while we remember 80% of what we do over time. So everything we've learned today is actually practicable. So let's see how we can practice them. Okay, let's see how we can relate them to our personal life, our business, our relationship with people. Okay, I think that is how it can actually be best effective to us. And also, let's watch out for our subsequent events. Okay, our subsequent events. We actually have your contact or dictate, so any further events will notify you via your emails that you used to register for this program. So once more, I really want to appreciate every one of us for signing up to this BYB Masters class. Thank you very much. Okay, Doctor, thank you, sir. I think we are good to go.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody. I think we can unmute our mic and just exchange pleasantry before we leave. I think that would be great. It's also a platform to interact with one another or have different courses, different caliber. Like Rejoice Debekeme is here. Is a radio
Hi.
personality with Crown FM. So anything you want to do on radio, I think you can reach out to Rejoice Debekeme. It will be sorted out for you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
we have Bless on this platform, and she's into health insurance. So anything with health insurance, she can handle that for you. And then we have so many other people. There's an Ike is here. She's into elocution and etiquette. So anything that has to do with elocution and etiquette, she can sort them out. So there's a lot of things that a lot of people do here. And let's just say hi to ourselves so that we can round up. Mr. Sakri, thank you. Zoom user, I'm sure that's Kome. Kome, thank you so much for coming up. Dory, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, hi.
Thank
Hi,
you.
everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
See
Thank you, Dr. Kweki.
again. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Everybody.